let's go right. KTM 390.
So let's rewind for a sec. My name is Feike from the Motor Race channel and today I'm in Bodegraven at Goedhart Motoren for the KTM Demo Days.
It is a single cylinder bike. It feels a lot smaller, if I'm honest, compared to the 890 I just ridden. It's also very light, it's 180 kg for 160 kilo, 160 kilos. And it's actually it's a small bike, but it does come with a lot of the features that big bike has. So it has Quickshifter, it has a lot of the ABS, a lot of different ABS modes. Not sure about the ride modes. Wind protection, not as good as on a lot of other bikes. But nevertheless, still, I think it's pretty happy doing highway speeds. But I would invest in a higher screen if you are really going to do a lot of traveling or commuting on this bike. But mainly, say, my upper torso is shielded by the windshield. Maybe you can even put it higher, I'm not sure. But the rest is in my head and my shoulders are in the wind. Bike really feels planted. Really, yeah. Solid. At 100k an hour there's minimal amount of vibrations. You will usually always have a little bit of vibrations, but that's I think that's fine. It's not at a level that is annoying. I do think this is a bike you can really go up on an adventure on. Definitely not really suited for, say, 2-up traveling, but if you want to explore that, mainly do back roads, maybe do that, or some a little bit more serious off-roading. This is way more suitable and handles a lot better in those circumstances than the big bikes. I think this bike also doesn't have it has ride-by-wire, I think. But it does feel like a lot more polished throttle response than on the 890. It's also a bike that is suitable for A2 license. Although I'm not really sure how useful that is going to be, because it's still a pretty expensive bike. But maybe, you know, in a few years down the road, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years, there are some second-hand bikes available for people with an A2 license. And for those people, it's really, I think that they're really a lot worse bikes to start on. It's a really nice bike to start on. Seating position on this bike is a little bit more cramped than on the 890, but still I'm really comfortable on this bike. I think that the seating height is more or less the same, or maybe even a little bit higher than on the 890. It's not super narrow between the legs, but yeah, I can flat foot this bike pretty easily. It's a lot more fun to just whack this full open than the 890. It's a lot of fun little bike this is. So it's a single cylinder, which makes about 45 horsepower, probably, I don't know, 40 Newton meters of torque. So yeah, I think a lot of people can, yeah, it also fits a large range of people. Personally, the handlebars might be a little bit further up for my liking, and maybe a little bit further forward. But that's, you know, really just looking for something that's not right about this bike. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the suspension on the 890 and the 390, it's the same, just the travel is different. Suspension is pretty good. The road's not so good, but suspension is. Yeah. So here's some, it's not cobblestones, but it's not tarmac either. But same as with the lousy roadsters a little while back. It's doing pretty good. Not getting shaken apart, so. I think in terms of handling, I think it's a little bit more, I don't know, stable, or I feel more at ease on this bike than on the 890 that I've just ridden, so. Yeah, good fun little bike. Brakes are good. Suspension I think is good. Maybe we get a little bit of cobblestones in a little bit to test that out. Handles fine. The only thing is I think the Quickshifter is not tuned properly. But that could also be because of my thick boots. But that's something I would say check it out if you do a test ride. But for the rest, absolutely amazing bike. I think this one is actually more fun than the 890. Also in terms of range, the bike is also going to do around 430 kilometers on a single tank, which probably you will never ever get to in a single day, so even for commuting would be nice, but then I of course would invest a little bit in a better windscreen. So yeah. Whoops. Ik weet even het zag.
Ja, een beetje bibberen.
Ik pak er een klein streepje wit mee. But I don't think if you would buy this bike, especially for touring back roads in the Netherlands, but even in Germany, I don't think you would be short on anything. I think the thing you would miss out on is, say, the absolute top speed on the autobahn in Germany. But for the rest, wow, I think even if you throw a little bit of luggage on this bike, it's still gonna do pretty well for for a weekend trip or a little bit of traveling or exploring. Bike weighs, as I mentioned, 160 kg, so it's also, if you drop it on the TED or off-road, it's a lot lighter to pick up. So yeah, pleasantly surprised. Comparing it to the BMW F310 GS, I didn't ride that a lot, but I did have the impression that the BMW was a lot less powerful. I think it was only 30 or 35 horsepower, but also it vibrated a lot more. Didn't have, to me, the same fun factor that the KTM provides. So yeah, pleasantly surprised by this little bike. Or maybe I shouldn't even call it a little bike. So I would say that KTM really made a mature bike for the segment it's in, because usually the 300, 400 cc bikes or for that matter everything that's below the 800cc range, usually are seen as the entry-level bikes, and there's not a lot of, say, options, especially not from the factory stock installed on them. Usually it's ABS and that's it. Also usually there's not a lot of investment in terms of suspension, but yeah, this KTM doesn't really feel like a cheap entry-level bike. I think that's a pretty nice conclusion. But yeah, that's about it what I gotta tell about this bike. I would be perfectly happy to have one of these as my first bikes, if I'm honest. And I doubt that I would be done riding it after 2 or 3 years. So yeah, good bike, KTM. If you want to know anything about this bike or have a question, drop it down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this, thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye.